When you hear the EU's demands, it's absolutely clear that they have no conception of what leaving the European Union means for the UK. They just don't see this as a country striking out on its own or trying to get away from the regulations and the centralised rule book of the EU. So they just carry on, more or less, punitively arguing, well, you have to do what we tell you. So it becomes a completely unreasonable set of demands. The demands on fishing are almost amusing, that they, as far as they're concerned, have rights and access to the water around the UK, around Great Britain. They're absolutely determined when it comes to the level playing field that there should be no divergence at all. In other words, they don't understand that the point of leaving the EU is that you diverge from their economic demands. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no possibility of a compromise based on that attitude. And some people will say, well, why aren't the UK prepared to compromise? But I think that in the whole of these negotiations, what there has to be is a recognition of what Brexit actually means for a country, what it actually means that you go off and do your own thing. They won't accept that. And as a consequence, I think we should probably just walk away. I think that if we could have possibly got a deal, it would be preferable. But I really don't think we should be frightened of not having a trade deal with the European Union. And one thing that we have to understand is that Brexit was never a referendum when people were asked if they wanted to leave the EU. It was not about trade. It was about a much more important matter of democratic accountability and sovereignty. So when it comes to having no trade deal, that's a downside, but it's not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the spirit of Brexit, which was for sovereignty, which means having all of the laws and all of the rules being domesticated, meaning that ordinary voters here can hold our politicians to account, that would be compromised if we went along with the trade deal that they're offering, which is effectively that we have oversight by European Union institutions such as the European Court of Justice, if we actually had to ask their permission for something like state aid and so on. Their concern is not the UK at all. What they're worried about is the message that it might send out to other European countries who are in the EU in case they should decide to leave. So what they don't want is to make it look as though it's easy to leave the EU. For them, that would be a disaster because other countries might say, well, I'm fed up of you telling us what to do. They've already got a major dispute going on at the moment with Poland and with Hungary. And they've shown in the past that when, for example, Greece tried to make its own decisions about its own economy, they weren't prepared to let that happen because the ultimate point of the EU is to dominate from the centre and to say what the rules are, and you have to follow them. They just don't want it to be seen that a country might decide that it can survive without following their rule book.